Welcome back to Digital Mzansi. Today we're diving into an explainer that, it isn't really just about children or some distant future. It's actually about all of us, right here, right now. Because think about it, we might literally be the very last generation that actually remembers what life was like before artificial intelligence just became this seamless, unavoidable part of everyday life. I want you to really think about this for a second. Imagine asking a kid, say 20 years from now, hey, can you imagine a world without artificial intelligence? Honestly, knowing how incredibly fast technology is moving right now, their immediate reaction might just be to look at you and laugh. And they'll probably laugh the exact same way young people today laugh when you try to explain, trying to unfold a giant paper map while driving, or actually going to a physical store just to rent a DVD. Or, man, the agonizing, screeching sound of dial-up internet. Remember life before smartphones? It sounds completely crazy to kids today. So, the absolutely crucial point here is this. To the next generation, AI isn't going to feel revolutionary. It won't be this mind-blowing sci-fi concept. To them, it's just going to feel normal. And that is exactly what makes this specific moment in time so incredibly important. Which brings us to part one. Every generation has a different normal. Because every generation inherits a completely different baseline, right? Think about your grandparents for a sec. Many of them grew up and had to adapt to television. They were the 1950s television generation. Then your parents had to adapt to the 90s and the internet. And then came the 2010s, where we all adopted to smartphones. Each generation grows up just kind of assuming that the world they inherit is simply the way things have always been. And now we're looking towards the 2030s and the AI generation. Kids today don't question the magic of electricity. They definitely don't question Wi-Fi, invisibly connecting them to the whole world, or, Google. Well, one day the children of tomorrow won't question AI either. And that's not out of ignorance. It's because it will literally just be the everyday fabric of their lives. It's going to be the water they swim in. So let's look at part two, the first AI generation. History always remembers the first generation to experience a really massive shift. And very soon, we're going to meet the first generation where AI is just a seamless part of childhood. I mean, these kids will never experience learning without incredibly patient AI tutors by their side, or writing without AI assistants, or searching without conversational AI. They're growing up with machines that speak naturally, answer questions instantly, and just perfectly adapt to their individual learning styles. For them, AI won't be some groundbreaking invention. It's just going to be a fact of life. But that leads us to part three. What will they never learn? This is actually a really fascinating thought. Because, every time a new technology makes our lives easier, it quietly replaces something else. Like, today's youth already miss out on the experience of getting hopelessly lost with a paper map, or having to memorize dozens of phone numbers, or waiting a whole week just to get information from a library book. Sure, those were moments of friction, but they also taught us navigation and memory and patience. So future generations might actually never know what it feels like to wrestle with a really difficult question without getting immediate assistance. The sheer convenience of AI means they might rarely have to just sit with uncertainty, to truly wonder about something for days before finally finding the answer. We're essentially trading that deeply human experience of sitting with uncertainty and wonder for instant, immediate assistance. Now, I want to be super clear here. This loss of friction, it doesn't automatically make them less intelligent, not at all. But it will undeniably make them fundamentally different. Every single generation develops different strengths, and consequently, different blind spots. Our job right now is to recognize what those blind spots might actually be. And this brings us to part four, the South African story. To really grasp the weight of this shift, let's look at a cultural example like South Africa. This is a nation profoundly shaped by storytelling. For generations, where have these stories been shared? Around dinner tables, in crowded classrooms, in churches, at bustling taxi ranks, under trees, and around evening fires. These stories were passed directly from one person to another. They were preserved, not by cloud storage or technology, but by deep, meaningful human relationships. And that highlights a truly beautiful and vital truth. Information can be generated, but wisdom must be lived. As AI integrates deeper into our education and everyday life, sure, we can generate all the information in the universe in seconds. But perhaps one of our greatest responsibilities right now is ensuring that this instant technology doesn't replace the lived wisdom passed between generations. Because a machine can absolutely give you data, but only a human can give you wisdom. Let's jump into part five. What will they ask us? Just imagine a future grandchild sitting next to you one day asking, hey, what was it actually like before AI? What stories would you even tell them? Would you talk about searching through physical books, writing essays completely alone without digital assistance, getting directions from complete strangers on the street, or making mistakes without instantly finding a step-by-step solution online? Maybe they'll find those stories completely fascinating. Or honestly, maybe they'll find them just as difficult to imagine as a world without the internet is for kids today. Which naturally leads us to part 6. What should we pass on? When they inevitably find all those stories hard to comprehend, it brings up a crucial question. What exactly is our legacy as this bridge generation? Well, the answer is actually beautifully simple. Technology always changes, but values don't have to. The tools we use are going to constantly evolve at breakneck speed, for sure. But the core foundation of what makes us human, that has to remain steadfast. Things like curiosity, kindness, integrity, patience, critical thinking, compassion. These aren't just outdated legacy software. In fact, in an AI-powered world where machines are doing almost all the technical heavy lifting, traits like patience and genuine compassion are going to become even more important. Because, let's be real, no software update can ever replace character. We often think our biggest responsibility is simply teaching kids how to use AI. And sure, our parents taught us how to navigate the internet, so maybe we'll teach our kids how to navigate artificial intelligence. But actually, our true task is so much bigger than that. It's about teaching children how to remain deeply human while using it. We shouldn't approach AI with fear, and definitely not with blind enthusiasm either, but with profound human wisdom. Because here's the reality. Children aren't going to ask whether AI belongs in their lives. They're going to ask how anyone ever lived without it. And when they do, the stories we choose to share with them right now, the values we instill in them today, well, those might ultimately shape exactly how they choose to use this incredible power tomorrow. Which leaves us with a final, pretty provocative question. What is the last skill AI can't replace? If this explainer made you reflect even a little bit on the world we're leaving to the next generation, then honestly, the conversation has already done its job. Make sure to subscribe to Digital Mzansi, where we explore not just the future of technology, but the future of humanity. Join us next time as we dive into this exact question and explore the one ultimate skill machines can never touch. Until then, definitely teach the next generation how to use technology, but never stop teaching them how to be human.